The CH-53E Super Stallion is what happens when the Marine Corps tells Congress they're just fixing a few things and ends up building a skyscraper that flies sideways. To the Marines, it's simply the Echo. To the Navy, it's the Sea Dragon. To the mechanics who have to fix it, it's a career-length grudge match with hydraulic fluid. But how did we get this terrifying engineering marvel? It actually started with a massive lie. In the 1960s, the Marines wanted a brand new heavy-lift helicopter. Congress said absolutely not. The Army was already funding a massive Boeing twin-rotor helicopter, and budget committees were being budget committees. So the manufacturer, Sikorsky, and the Marines did something incredibly sneaky. They submitted a formal paperwork change, telling the Pentagon they were simply upgrading the older existing helicopter. Then they stretched the body 6 feet, added a third engine, replaced every single bolt, and redesigned the entire transmission. They looked the budget committee dead in the eye and said, "Don't worry about it, it's basically the same helicopter." Congress didn't notice until it was too late. It was peak military trickery. Because they lied to get it built, the engineers had to pull off some absolutely ridiculous stunts to make it actually fly. First up, engine number 2. Engines 1 and 3 are in pods on the sides, living their best lives. Engine 2 is buried deep in the tail structure like a family secret at Thanksgiving. It sends power directly into the main gearbox through a complex web of nested gears, because there was no room for a third pod without making the helicopter look like a flying cluster of grapes. That main gearbox, by the way, weighs as much as an entire empty rescue helicopter. It is so large a grown adult can stand inside the steel housing during repairs. But there was a major catch. Adding that third engine made the tail far too heavy. The helicopter wanted to sit on its rear end like a tired bulldog, pointing its nose at the moon. The engineer's solution was to tilt the tail rotor 20 degrees to the left. That's like putting a folded matchbook under a wobbly table leg. That tilted angle generates 2,000 pounds of upward lift, just to keep the aircraft flying level. The madness doesn't stop with the engines. If you look up at the giant spinning rotor head, things get even weirder. 7 titanium blades. Each one is hollow and filled with pressurized nitrogen gas. If a microscopic crack forms, the gas leaks out, and a small red button pops up on the rotor head. It's the automatic safety check system. It is the ultimate check engine light, except instead of ignoring it for 3 months like you do in your car, you pray to every deity you know. And right at the center of this spinning metal storm is a single, terrifying point of failure, the Jesus nut. Every helicopter has one. It's the single threaded metal ring that keeps the rotor blades attached to the main mast. On this giant, it's about a foot wide. To tighten it, you use a massive specialized wrench that generates 40,000 foot-pounds of twisting force. With all this raw power spinning those massive blades, you get 2 immediate results. An absolute hurricane on the ground, and a mechanical nightmare for the crew. The air blast from those 7 blades hits the ground at over 100 miles per hour. All that violent force takes a massive toll. For every single hour this machine flies, mechanics have to spend 44 hours fixing it. Most of that time is spent looking for leaks. The old saying among the mechanics is, if it ain't leaking, it's empty. That is not a joke. That is an actual test. If there's no hydraulic fluid puddling on the floor, something has gone terribly wrong. You might wonder why anyone would put up with a machine this high maintenance. The answer is simple. When things go completely sideways in a crisis, nothing else on Earth can do what this beast does. Take 1991 during a rescue mission in East Africa. 2 of these helicopters took off from a Navy ship and flew nearly 500 miles in total darkness to rescue people from a surrounded embassy. That's like flying from Washington, D.C. to Columbus, Ohio, at night, over open ocean, right into a war zone. Mid-flight, one of them had a fuel pipe burst inside the cabin. The Marines inside were suddenly sitting in a pool of highly flammable jet fuel, in the pitch black. One static spark from a radio, and the whole helicopter would have turned into a Roman candle. But they stayed in the air. They landed, extracted the embassy personnel, and left. And it's not just military rescues. Sometimes civil authorities call in this giant to fight Mother Nature herself. In 1992, the Italian government used them to drop 7,000-pound concrete blocks into an active lava flow on Mount Etna to redirect it away from a nearby city. The heat from the lava was intense enough to melt the rubber seals on the outside of the helicopter. The pilots were essentially playing Tetris with an active volcano. The volcano lost. But pushing the limits of physics and engineering for decades eventually caught up with this giant. Over the years, the constant strain revealed a tragic dark side. Between 1984 and 2019, this family of helicopters was involved in several major crashes. Part of this was underfunding, but part of it was a design flaw that took 30 years to fully surface. For decades, bundles of electrical wires were packed directly against high-pressure fuel lines, and this helicopter vibrates constantly, like a washing machine full of heavy bricks. Over the years of flying, that vibration caused the wires to rub against the fuel lines until the metal wore thin. It took a tragic crash in 2014 to finally prove what that vibration had been doing for decades. By 2016, things got so bad that pilots were only getting 5 hours of flight practice a month because the aircraft were constantly broken in the hangar. You cannot safely fly a 35-ton machine on 5 hours of practice a month. You aren't flying it anymore, you're just trying to survive it. While the Marines were using it on land, the Navy decided they wanted their own version, built for an even weirder, more dangerous job. This is the Navy's version, called the Sea Dragon. You can spot it immediately by the massive, bulging fuel pods on either side. Mechanics call them big hips. It needs that extra fuel. The Sea Dragon's job is hunting for underwater mines. It flies low over the ocean, dragging a 30,000-pound metal sled through the water to trigger explosives before normal ships arrive. It is a brutal game of tug-of-war with the Atlantic Ocean. The Navy actually tried replacing it with a smaller, standard helicopter, but the smaller helicopter wasn't heavy enough. The heavy sled would literally pull it down into the water. The Sea Dragon stays because it's the only machine heavy enough to win. To make things crazier, a crew member has to hang off the open back ramp with a hook, trying to catch a recovery cable while the pilots hover just 30 feet above the waves. It is the most dangerous fishing trip. If that cable snaps under tension, it will slice through anything in its way. After 40 years of keeping this aging, vibrating giant in the air, the military finally realized they needed a modern replacement, the King Stallion. It looks like the older model, but it shares absolutely zero parts with it. It is a successor to the original in the same way a Tesla is a successor to a Model T. They both have wheels, but that's where the comparison ends. The King Stallion has computer-controlled flight systems. It also has a split-power gearbox because a standard one would need to be the size of a school bus to handle 22,000 horsepower, which is more power than 2 main battle tanks. It also has a life-saving feature. The crew calls the brownout button. If a pilot gets blinded by a massive cloud of dust, they push one button and the computer automatically holds a perfect hover. The controls will even physically push back against the pilot's hands if they try to make a turn that the computer calculates would crash the helicopter. And this new version is massive. It can fit a military Humvee right inside the cabin. On the older model, you had to dangle it underneath on a cable. But all this tech comes with a staggering price tag, $138 million. That is more expensive than a stealth fighter jet. When a single helicopter costs more than a stealth fighter, you have to ask, why do we still build these massive, expensive beasts? Because a rapid response military force can show up anywhere on Earth within hours, specifically because of this machine. It carries the heavy fuel, the artillery, the vehicles, and the troops. It started as a clever budget trick. It was kept flying for 40 years by extreme twisting force and the caffeine-fueled stubbornness of young Marines who signed up to work on aircraft, but ended up in a toxic relationship with a hydraulic leak. But when you are stuck in a hole and you need a building moved, you do not call a drone, you call the hurricane maker. If you found this video interesting, you can like it. There is a button for that. If you would like to see future videos, you can subscribe. There is also a button for that. Both buttons are in the same general area. I trust you will figure it out.